Hello and welcome. We are live here on LinkedIn, also on YouTube Live, and we are recording this live as an episode for Courageous and Free with Jacqueline Mack, where we jump into all things radical, intentional self-expansion to unleash your unlimited potential, specifically in the world of business, but also in life, because how we do anything is how we do everything. And today we're really going to be opening that theme for the next few months on momentum. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and also just conversations I'm having with my clients about momentum and how to catch the next wave, knowing that momentum is going to go up, momentum will go down, but how can we make this a new consistent of where when we say coming down, the down is not the bottom, but maybe a middle ground or an upper limit that used to be an upper limit. And that's the new minimum. So we're going to talk today a lot more though about the luck component, because I just had a client literally this week feeling like they were creating the luck and then they're running out of the luck. And at the end of the day, it isn't about the luck. It's about the momentum and how do these two correlate and either support one another or not? And how can we get curious and playful with unlocking that consistency of what we call luck or momentum? So let's jump right in, because I really do believe there's a lot to be covered on this topic. I'll get through what I can here in the next 20 minutes. And if I realize my notes were too long, which sometimes happens, I will save that and just switch around the next few episodes and make sure I bring it in. So without further ado, let's talk about luck. And where does that stem from? Well, first, it stems from your belief system, right? You either believe that you're lucky or you believe that you're not, or maybe you believe somebody else is lucky and that you believe you are not. And so this can be a limiting belief if you believe it to be true. Like, I am not lucky and therefore I don't have lucky situations. I don't have lucky circumstances, but they see proof all the time that other people are. Right. So if you believe that you're right, you're going to be right. If you believe that you're wrong, you're going to be like, it's the whole thing. You can or you can't. Whatever you believe will be true for you. Right. So you're finding ways to justify the truth. Right. If it seems like I'm in an unlucky situation, then I'm seeming like I'm thinking about it. I'm focusing about it. I'm going to find things to justify that. So I was just speaking with a client this week, and he said he wasn't feeling on top of the world like he had been for a few weeks, and life was happening. Like, I call it life is lifing, and it was really happening in his world, like an unexpected, obviously, funeral. That's life is lifing, and some new job opportunities, some things going well, some things weren't going as planned. And so without too much detail, the lesson of this was he thought he had hit that lucky streak again. And yet he thought it also was running out again. So like the last time with his business efforts, he was like, gosh, am I doing this again? Is this a habit? Is this a pattern in behavior? Yes, it is. Because it's his thoughts and his beliefs that are activating his perspective and his reality. So it was true. And it is a pattern if he wants it to continue to be a pattern. But we can look at this in a way that says, wow, if I'm saying that my luck is eventually going to run out, why? Why am I choosing to continue to focus on this as I do business and as I do life? And let's flip the script and decide, like, can we be curious to what if it wasn't true? What if my luck didn't run out? What if it wasn't that I have a lucky streaks and then I don't? Like, what would that look like? What would that feel like? And so let me break this down to you a little bit more scientifically of what's been proven so that you can actually create your own luck, because we do. So you're either creating your own luck with intention, or you're creating your own luck or lack of it through default and blaming and shaming yourself or others, right? So you're one side of the spectrum or the other, but you have a choice. And we can stop thinking that we're running out of it if we so choose to. So from a scientific perspective, and this is actually psychological perspective, people don't actually run out of luck. Like, luck is not finite. It's infinite. It's possibility. It's potential. It's especially in the space of uncertainty. There's so much possibility, so much potential if you have that perspective. Or in the space of uncertainty, you can say, wow, I'm uncertain and therefore that nothing's possible. Like this is too crazy. This is too like uncertain. Like nothing's gonna go my way, or there's no other option. It's just, this is just the way it is. Like again, two sides of a coin, two different perspectives. So when you think about luck as not being a finite resource, but rather a combination of personal perception, of the circumstance, of the chance, of the situation, meaning that while someone might experience a streak of bad luck, it's not because they depleted their luck, but rather it's due to their perspective, their mindset, their beliefs, their values, situational factors of what they believe to be true, right? And people will fight me to the day sometimes on coaching calls, and they're like, "Well, you don't get it. This is what is happening. It's happening because you're focusing on it and you're making more of it. You're attracting more of it. You're showing up and taking action to create more of it." So what can you do? Let's start with my most favorite, right? The personal perception part, because it matters. Studies show that people who believe they are lucky tend to perceive more positive occurrences as luck, right? So when they have more positive experiences, they're like, wow, this is luck, and I'm grateful for it. Even when it happens by chance. While those who feel unlucky might interpret it as a similar event, but in a negative value system or a negative lens or a negative perception, right? So perception matters big time with all of this. If that's all you get from this is how can you be aware of how you're perceiving and what you're making mean, because the past is over. There's nothing we can do or change with that. Other people's actions, we can't control that no matter how much we think we can or want to. We may be able to manipulate or guide or encourage or lead, but ultimately people are going to make their own decisions, which is going to create a situation or a circumstance. And it's how we respond to the circumstance based on our perception of the circumstance. That is the main key I would love for you to take away from any of this luck, manifestation, magnetism, momentum piece of this, right? Taking action. So lucky people often actively seek out opportunities. This is how you build momentum, by taking action on things that move the needle. And if it's not moving the needle, pivot, right? don't slide into from the perseverance of going into insanity where you're doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So when lucky people are seeking out opportunities, like actively, intentionally, they're also open to new experiences, right? They love the challenge. They love the space of uncertainty because then they see that as an opportunity to do something new, to experience something new, to grow, to expand. And this also includes taking obviously calculated risks, right? So, which can increase their chances of positive outcomes, results, goal attainment, momentum, all the things we love to talk about. Lastly is the positive mindset. So cultivating that optimistic, I call it optimistic realistic, but sometimes even throwing the realistic out the door and becoming radical, which is why I really love helping my clients. So like when they're like, wow, I didn't even think that was possible, but I borrowed your belief and look where we are. So when you have an optimistic outlook, it can help you view the challenges as opportunities and bounce back from the setbacks more effectively. This is what I also call, instead of a setback, it's a failing forward. We're still moving forward. We're still finding fulfillment in what we do, even if the result wasn't exactly what we had intended. So be curious and play with the ways that you can turn the boring things in life and in business, these tasks, into the fun, high impact actions, or you can delegate them. Again, I have clients all the time that will talk about sales and they'll talk about lead gen and they'll talk about operations and aspects of the business that they don't love. And it's like, okay, can we delegate them? How soon can we delegate them? And it's just a matter of perception and willingness to invest into somebody else, right? And trust the process and know that the only way to buy back time, the only way to create more fulfillment and freedom, both in time and money, is to hire in team members. And you don't have to have a huge team to do that. And in the space of the internet, it's been amazing, even just in the past 10 years, to see how evolved this has become and how people are able to not only be successful in the old standards, but also have that time freedom, money freedom, and fulfillment. as well. It's like the yes and, yes and, yes and, not sacrificing one for the other. So, this momentum piece, how does this correlate to luck? Well, if you look at it, most people that you view as lucky, they never lose their momentum in your eyes. But I promise you, there's times in the building of their success, of their luck, there have been down moments. There have been peaks and valleys. Like it oscillates. That's life. That's business. There's going to be, in order to see the light, then we're going to spiritual here a little bit. There has to be darkness, right? But it's whether we stay in those pockets longer than we need to, or to get the growth, right? And a good analogy is like momentum with surfing. I've only done surfing a few times, and I've been whacked by the board multiple times. And I love the aspect of surfing in business because it's true. Like you can have days where you're in your flow and you're out there, you're paddling, you're catching every wave, and you're riding it, and you're hopping off before crashing into the sand, and you're hitting that threshold to where it's just a flow and it's a constant go, like it's on and off the wave versus on the wave and crash and on the wave and crash and on the wave and crash. And how many of you are experiencing that in your personal life and your health and your relationships, with your business, with your money freedom, with your time freedom? Are you flowing and you're on and off with gentleness, with ease, and just certainty that momentum, it's not going to stop until you decide or you pause? And who's going to want to pause when it's that good, right? Or are you on and then crash, and then it takes you down and out for a while, and then you're on and then you crash, and then it takes you down for a while, and you're hustling and grinding to even get on, right? And you're wondering why that becomes a pattern with your health or your business or your relationships or your money or your time freedom. So what ways can we be curious to turn those boring, I don't want to do this, hell or high water, like please don't make me do this task, to create the momentum in my connection and my conversions and sales, or to create the momentum with my health and my vitality, because I'm moving more and I'm fueling better and I'm investing into my rest and recovery, right? It doesn't have to be this big deal. It's the little things. It's the little hinges that swing the big doors. It's the little habits that build that momentum when you consistently are intentional with it over time. So if your time is full, and this again, look at this perspective. I'm going to go with the sales component of it, with business and revenue generating, because that's the majority of my clients and that's the majority of the people listening to the podcast. But you can take any of this and apply it to any pocket or piece of your life, right? So if your time is full, but your revenue isn't growing, what are you actually investing your time into? So if your time is full and your health is depleting, why aren't you prioritizing and investing into your health? Right? So I'm going to go back to here, branding and content. Like so many people come to me and they're like, I'm networking, I'm on podcast, I'm running my own podcast, I'm putting out this much content per week, and I have a blog, and I'm emailing, and I'm doing the thing, and I'm doing this thing. And I'm like, great. And how's your revenue? And they're either really embarrassed to share the number, or they'll lie to me and say it's not as good, but it's nothing. It was nothing last month, right? Okay, so we don't have a business right now, do we? Right? And what's reoccurring monthly revenue look like? What are some of the old clients that are on board that are still paying? I have another client that's like, yeah, it was $4,000. Now we're at 40, but I want to be at 100. And because I'm at 40, like I have 60% more to go. And that just feels so daunting. And I'm already like spinning my wheels, and I'm nervous about the consistency and the repetition and the momentum that it's just going to be gone one day. And then the 40 is going to be gone. And then what? And then what? It's like, stop, slow down. So until you've mastered the art of what? Selling, which is connecting and converting. That is it. That is it. Now, it's that simple, but there's structure and there's pieces. There's active listening. There's authority without ego. And we're talking about conviction versus convincing. We're never sliding into that pocket. And there's follow up and follow through. And how many times scientifically do we know someone needs a touch point to see and hear us, and that they can know, like, and trust us in 2 minutes, or they can know, like, and trust us in 12 months. And everybody is different, right? We got to meet them where they're at. So until you've mastered the art of selling, like the marketing is the marketing. And until you've mastered the art of selling in your marketing, now we can go. Now the momentum is like, it's like an unlimited pool of gasoline just ready to keep the engine going. But if you're pouring into your content and you don't know how to connect and you don't know how to convert and your content doesn't have the art of selling, or your marketing doesn't have the art of selling, yikes. That's where people either waste a lot of time and burn out, or they keep struggling and they keep pivoting and they keep changing who their target market is, or they just talk to another marketing agency and they're in the luxury space, and yet they pivoted their whole branding like 3 or 4 times. And they're like, we can't possibly pivot again. Well, you can, but have you ever gone all in and like stayed committed to the niche you really want to work in? Because when I was asking about the two different niches, they're very drastic, very different, but still luxury. And yet one was like a whole nother type of person you would speak to. And another one was a whole nother niche. And he thought, it was location dependent. And I'm like, if you believe that, then you're limiting yourself. But if you don't want to believe that, I'm telling you, it's possible to still build a healthy business because you don't live in Miami or London or Paris or LA or New York City. That's not going to stop you. Like, hello, we are in the ages of the internet at our fingertips. And yes, you could say it's who you know. That's old paradigm, old business building. But you don't have to know those people and you don't have to see them every day to help people get results. Are those people getting the results for your clients, or are you helping your clients get their results? Like, sometimes these things are hard to say to people because it's the truth that's just flowing through me. And yet sometimes it's even harder to hear it, right? How many of you out there like really like to hear the truth? We say we do, but when it's time, do we really hear the truth? Do we really appreciate hearing the truth? Because we should, right? So let's go back to that. When someone is sharing that and they're like, okay, connecting and converting, got it. How do I connect and convert? Take my structure over script process that I've used to close over 31 million, that I've been using behind $100 million brands and helping other teams and high premium closers do the same with. And when you use it, remove the pressure. Remove the pressure. This is how we build consistent momentum without burning out. And when we start to feel the pressure, we're just aware and we honor and release it. We're like, why am I causing this pressure? Or why am I creating this space of the pressure to make the sale? And instead, can we look at sales as a service, as a game, and track it and appreciate the small wins and appreciate the big milestones and know this is momentum. When the little things are happening, woo, I can't wait because the big one's coming. And when I'm on the big one, I'm like, okay, we're going to come down and we're going to get some little ones again and we're going to come back up. We're going to come down and we're going to come back up. It's the momentum. It's the game. And it gets to be fun if we allow ourselves to feel and have fun, right? And release the forcing and the pushing and the ick that comes with the pressure. Because when we put the pressure on ourselves, it translates to the prospect or the lead. And listen to, if you're like, I'm not in sales and I don't own a business, then this will also help you make a better decision maker, a better buyer, a better consumer, so that you're not falling for the all ick, and you can take control of those conversations and be like, hey, I prefer if you really got to know me first before you started pitching on me, right? I'd really like to know that you can actually help me first, that you're certain before you tell me how you're going to help me. Do you have other questions to ask me? Because I have questions to ask you, right? And so you get to do that. If you're a consumer, if you're a savvy in your power consumer, why not? Why not? Now, like I mentioned earlier, I had a current client that was doing 4K months a year ago. And then her brand agency, she's now at 40K months consistently, but is disappointed that's not 100K months and wasn't celebrating that, and actually had a lot of frustrated energy and a little bit of overwhelm that was starting to come in. And it's like, okay, where's the next 60K going to come from? Instead of being in gratitude, like, holy crap, this is amazing. We're at 40 in less than a year. There are people that don't get there that fast. They just don't, because of other lot of limits, and they're not taking the action. And instead, how can we be curious and how we can double and then triple? So if we can double and go from 40 to 80, that's pretty darn close to 100. And then we can double again, now that's 160. Or we just doubled or tripled the 40, now we're at 120. We're doing good and we're hitting our goal. And in a bad month, if we hit 80, are we mad? No, because we know we just bumped up our minimum. You can call it an energetic minimum. You can call your energetic, ceiling threshold. You can call it just the actual, like, hey, if we don't go below, like, that's just it. Like right now, she doesn't go below 40. She doesn't, but she has some limiting beliefs and fears that it could all go away. And it could be back at 4 because it happens so fast, right? This is why when success happens so fast, the novelty wears off and we start to freak out. When things are gradual, it's kind of like the whole, I don't know if you heard the boiling toad in the water, but if you put a toad or a frog in a pot of boiling water, he's going to jump out. But if you slowly turn the heat up, he probably won't know to jump out, right? So if you can bring some curiosity, if you can bring some playfulness, if you can learn how to release the pressure, if you can use proper structure and strategy and processes that actually work, and you learn how to master conversations that actually connect you and convert, boom. That's it. That's how we build luck. That's how we create luck. That's how we build momentum. This is how we actually grow a business in a way that's fun and we don't feel like a freaking employee and we want to just throw in the towel or quit or sell as soon as possible. So I'm going to wrap that up here because we're right at 20 something minutes, but there are 2 ways to work with me right now. First one is a free laser coaching and networking workshop. It's limited seats. It's called the Sales Momentum to Mastery Workshop. It's the closest thing I offer when it comes to free laser coaching, office hours, and networking with other like-minded business people. And it's on Thursdays right now. I don't know how long I'm going to offer that, but it's almost every Thursday unless I'm on a vacation. And it's at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But you must reserve your spot in order to show up. And it's a private Zoom link. So that's number 1. Highly recommend that you jump on that if you're like, any of this landed for you, or you want to work through any of this, or you just want access to that structure over script. You can take your script, throw it out, or line it up next to the structure and make sure you're not missing the critical pieces to connect and convert. That comes free to anybody who attends the workshop. The other way is the 5-week sprint. Some of you have heard of, some of you have not. This is the only way to work with me one-on-one. And if you go through a 5-week sprint, then we can talk about a 6-month or 12-month agreement. And remember, you're not stuck. You're just in a sales process that's a little bit messy, or it's the process itself is stuck, meaning you're maybe overwhelmed, you're stressed, or you're running in circles. The sprint will be your ultimate reset or ROI reboot. And what it will do is it will amplify your return on intention, which is the new ROI, like intentionally investing into the things that actually are going to move the revenue needle. So over the 5 weeks, you'll have some personalized coaching. I will literally be in your back pocket to do voice memo texting or messaging back and forth. We'll go over the magnetic offer formula and make sure your offer stack is clean and clear and you feel really good about sharing that and not icky about it. You'll have 3 one-on-one calls. We can use it for a sales call review. We can do some market research protocol and all of the strategies that are in my sales codes. And you actually get access to sales codes and money codes for 60 days included as well in the 5-week sprint. What you can expect from a 5-week sprint is increased revenue, increased connection and attraction of your premium buyers, massive breakthroughs and ditching your regrets, no more stalling, no more feeling stuck, unshakable confidence in your decision mastery, and lots of fun without the burnout. I do only have 3 spots this month open in March. So don't wait because I'm on calls every single week. And I do run that live workshop where I'm offering it as well. And anybody who attends the workshop will also get 25% off, which will save you over $750, which is amazing. So either of those sound great to you, you can message me Sprint, you can message me Workshop, and I'll be happy to send over those links. In the meantime, I hope you've been using the power prompts. It is the first week of March. If you forgot to use them at the end of February, you can snag those as well while they are still available. And I promise you, those prompts will allow you to experience goal attainment faster than any goal exercise out there. So for now, I'm going to leave you with so much love. Until next time, be curious, create that luck and that momentum, and let me know how it goes. Until next time, bye for now.